So I just thought of a pragmatic example around the last video I did around being business minded, really caring about what's best for the business. Um, and it's basically this. Like imagine you're trying to sell your management, the vultures are back. You're trying to sell your management on buying a recovery solution. You need £1 million, €1 million, whatever currency, to purchase this recovery solution because, all the things we've heard, it's not if, it's when, blah, blah, blah. And your CFO looks at you and is like, listen, we spend 10 million a year on cybersecurity. I don't really understand it. But now you're telling me that that investment, despite all that investment, all these tens of millions over these last few years, there's still a chance that we're going to get breached anyway. And I'm kind of questioning how effective this is. And okay, this recovery solution, what are the odds that we're going to need it? And will it even work? Because you're telling me all the other security stuff that we've implemented might not work. So now we're going to buy something else. Well, will that work 100%? And it's not a bad question if they ask it, because it's like, well, maybe the recovery will be undermined somehow or whatever. And the general result of that thinking is like, listen, I'm not giving you this £1 million. I'm going to give this £1 million to the marketing team, who are going to generate 50 million in sales off the back of it, and that's going to be 3 million in net revenue. So, yeah, I'm just going to do it. And that CFO is absolutely right, because it's completely the wrong argument that's being made to him. The argument that should be made is, listen, I need you to invest £1 million in a recovery solution because we have a lot of issues. We struggle to fix them. We struggle to remediate them. We have a lot of inertia. There's a lot of resistance to change control. So a lot of these underlying issues, we're not actually able to address them, and that's not just increasing risk, but it's also increasing the costs of mitigating those risks. If, however, you give me £1 million to invest in this recovery solution, then I can recover. If we do have a breach, we can recover much faster, which means the cost of that breach is less, which means I don't need to allocate quite so much resource to mitigating that risk, and I can shift them to doing more strategic work. And I can even use that recovery capability of, hey, we need to make some changes to these legacy systems to make them maintainable, or we need to change the structure of this, where previously change control would have been, ooh, that's really risky, we're not doing it. Now, hey, even if it fails, we can recover it in 20 minutes. Okay, so we'll let you do it. By doing that, I can improve the underlying processes so that next year we don't need 10 million a year in security. We'll do it with 9. And the year after that, we'll keep improving. We'll be down to 8. And the year after that, we'll keep improving. We'll be down to 7 million a year. After that, it's probably diminishing return. So let's just go for those first 3 years of a 1 million reduction, 2 million reduction, 3 million reduction. Total reduction of 6 million minus the 1 for the investment in cybersecurity. Plus, I've now addressed a bunch of root causes, so I'm actually less likely to have risk. Now, note how I haven't approached this from a risk perspective. I've approached it from an optimizing process and therefore reducing the cost of mitigating the defects of those processes. So I'm now saving CFO 6 million minus the 1 cost of 5 million. That is more than the 3 million he or she could have made, by investing that money in marketing. And therefore, this is the best financial decision. This is an actual win. This will make/save money on the balance sheet today. Has nothing to do with some arbitrary risk number that we may reduce if we have a breach. It's totally measurable. And it's a really, really sensible financial argument. The risk reduction is secondary. And the risk reduction is actually superior because you've addressed underlying causes. So the likelihood of you having the breach for you to need the recovery is actually less than if you just focused on the recovery. And that's the kind of like business mindset thinking. And I'll do a quick other video on stakeholder engagement right now. It's going to be a very short one.